Hello, everyone. My name is Misti Gaither, and welcome to Quest, a journey into true crime and the paranormal. And I have with me in the studio Karen Jeffries, and she is the owner of the Dauphine House here in New Orleans. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some investigations that she's been on, and just about your journey as a psychic and everything. And so I met you last year. I hosted a weekend, a lockdown, so to say, at the Haunted Hotel in New Orleans, and that's how that we officially met. And I really enjoyed that, and I think I'm gonna do it again this upcoming.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
And so maybe we can incorporate your place too. I don't know, but we'll talk about that later. But the Dauphine House. Now that was, what built around 1860.
Correct.
All right.
Right.
So that was pre-Civil War.
Right.
Just
right.
by a year. But so tell me, like, where did you have you always lived in New Orleans, or?
Well, I'm actually from Phoenix, Arizona. And but when I was a kid, my parents would every summer they would drive to Florida because that's where my grandparents lived, and they always stopped in New Orleans. And I think those little short one-day trips just kind of stuck in my mind because let's face it, Phoenix and New Orleans are like polar opposites as far as everything is concerned. So it was like really walking into a foreign country when I was a kid. And it was always fun. We always had a blast, So time goes by, I get older, and just was ready for a change. And I thought, I've always wanted to live in New Orleans. So I did. I just picked up and left and came here and I was in the hospitality industry. And then had some friends they had a B&B, and whenever they'd go out of town, I watched it for them, and I enjoyed it so much, I thought, I want to do this too. Looked around for a house and found the one I have now, and turned it into a bed and breakfast, and that was, let's see, it's been like 24 years now since I've had the B&B, something like that.
Something like it was 1990. Did you
1996. 96 is when I moved here.
Moved here. Okay.
Yeah.
Was it something in particular that drew you to the house? Like, did you say, wait, this is what I'm supposed to do? What do you think drew you? Was it because I heard a rumor, and I'm like, well, let me just go to the source to see. So you have like 5 or 6 spirits there? Okay.
It's a busy little house.
It sounds, because it's not a huge place.
No. Well, when you ask, was I drawn to the house? Yes, because I knew kind of what area I wanted to be, and I went to all these open houses, and well, I'm sure you've had this feeling before. You walk into a house and you get the heebie-jeebies immediately, and just turn around and walk out, right? With this one, when I walked in, it was like, I'm home. This is it. And then after being there a while, some things started to happen, but one of the first things that happened was I walked in and I looked at the top of the staircase and I saw a couple standing there. And they were standing there smiling. They wore clothing that looked like it was from the 1800s, both wearing black, like that black mourning attire almost. And I said, thank you for your beautiful home, and I'm going to try to restore it back to its original beauty. Ta-da! I ran upstairs, dropped my stuff off, and left because the house, I couldn't move in immediately. It needed so much work. So then time goes by, I move in, and I had some psychic friends come in and investigate, including our very own Carrie Roy.
Yeah.
And found out more information. Yeah. I've got a man who's pacing the balconies, and he's worried about money. Carrie told me that.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if he wasn't the one who built the house originally in 1860. Because there he built this house, and according to some architectural folks who looked at the house, they said that like the different little extra touches that were put on the house kind of show that somebody had some money in the when they built it originally. So let's say this person built the house originally, threw a little extra money into it, and then the next year the Civil War hits. So now he's pacing back and forth worried about money. That would make sense if it was the original owner. I've also got a fellow that followed me home, apparently. He's wearing a top hat. They think he followed me home from the French Quarter. And he's nobody to be afraid of. He's a bit of a prankster.
Okay.
He'll move things around. I've got this one guest who she comes regularly, and now she kind of plays a game with them because
Oh, okay.
originally she had her stuff on the dresser just spread out randomly. She said in the morning they were all nice, everything was nice and neat and laid out and lovely. Now, the last time she was here, she left some stuff on the bed, like jewelry, and purposely
Yeah,
to see
right.
what's going to happen. She said the next morning it was all on the dresser, all nice and neat.
What? So he moved it from the
Yeah,
bed to the dresser.
yeah.
I like that because, so many times we hear about the spirits and, negative, like, oh, they're scared, especially when you said the top hat,
Uh-huh.
because generally, like, it's just, if it's negative or
Mm-hmm.
whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it's always like, well, well, it was someone with a hat,
Right.
and so when you said hat, I was like, oh, here we go. But
Right.
it's good, but I like the positive, like everything doesn't have to be
Yes.
demonic. Everything
No.
doesn't have to be negative or, oh God, here's this black shadow figure. And, because to me, the spirit world, a lot of it's beautiful,
Absolutely.
you know.
Yeah, they're just people.
Yeah,
They're
they
just
were.
us.
Yeah, they're just, they're
Yeah.
kind of, and I think that they enjoy what you've done and how that you restored it and that you continue to take such good care of it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you're an award winner.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah,
Right.
like it was the Merit Award for restoration
Right.
that was given to you from
Mm-hmm.
the mayor or the city and
Right.
or the city. And so
Yeah.
that's a pretty cool thing,
That was very nice that they did that.
Yeah. So was it like a plaque or a medal or a
It's
certificate
like a
or
certificate that they had framed and everything.
Yeah.
They do that occasionally when you see a house that's really been chopped up and just really not did not follow the original architecture, but then to come and find a door that would match architecturally and the big window that does, and the city recognized that. They know it takes a lot of loving care to take care of these houses, and the city appreciates that.
It's the two you have a was it ingenue room
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
the chartreuse
Chanteuse, chanteuse.
chanteuse.
Uh-huh.
I think chartreuse is a liquor, isn't it?
It could be.
I was gonna say, of course, I would know that, but Chanteuse room,
Uh-huh.
and I was just looking at the pictures because if you go on Dauphine Hotel, is that what Dauphine
DauphineHouse.com.
House, not hotel. Scratch
Right.
that. I'm gonna
Right.
start over. DauphineHouse.com.
Right.
You can see it's. I mean, you have the courtyard,
Yeah.
you have the rooms, and everything
Yeah.
just looks so
Thank you.
like inviting and nothing. Like I said, nothing negative.
No,
No,
uh-uh.
yeah.
There's also, I think one of my cats is still here with
Oh,
me because people have seen a big orange tabby sometimes walking through. There's also a woman in the ingenue room that we feel that this was her domain because originally that was the kitchen when the house was originally built. So we took the kitchen out, turned it into a bedroom, and she's appears to be a little confused as to why are you in my kitchen? Why
yeah.
are the people here? But she doesn't do anything. She doesn't upset anyone.
Do you think that they are intelligent, or do you think that they're kind of how people describe it as being caught like on a tape, and
Residual,
yeah,
yeah.
and they just do the same motion, the loop over and
Right.
over. Do you have those kind of spirits, or you think that they're mainly the intelligent?
I think they're intelligent.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool
Yeah, I
because you
think
can
so.
just like communicate the communication so much better
I
when
know,
they're
right.
doing that.
Right.
But
Right.
we met like I was saying when I had my event last year at the haunted hotel,
Uh-huh.
and people who watch the show or you know know me personally, and I don't know how to explain why I have this thing about axe murders.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's some psychiatrist somewhere that could help me out, but it just happens.
Mm-hmm.
But where we were was allegedly where the Axeman stayed when he was doing his
Mm-hmm.
dirt.
Mm-hmm.
But you were telling me how that, because not only are you a proprietor of a house, a beautiful home, a bed and breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
but you're also a psychic, and you're also an investigator.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you were saying that you had another psychic and y'all were kind of around, and she does not know anything about the history of New Orleans, basically,
Mm-hmm.
and about the Axemen especially.
Mm-hmm.
And so kind of tell me a little bit about that, what happened. Because I was like, when you told me, I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
So.
Well, yes, dear friend of mine, Heather Besser, wonderful psychic medium, and another friend of ours, Jack Roth, we were investigating a property that was probably 3 or 4 blocks from the haunted hotel, and completely unrelated to the haunted hotel. And Heather was getting a reading, a feel of the entities that are in that property on Dauphine Street is where we were. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, she says, Axeman. And I'm like, pardon me? And she said, Axeman, what is Axeman? And so I told her about, the haunted hotel and the investigation that was done there and a little bit about his history and what he did in the quarter and stuff. And she was just, blown away. And I said, well, are you picking up on anything else, Heather? And she said, Mumphrey. We asked, why did you do this? And he said something horrible, like it was fun. Why we asked, why did you target Italians? And he said, because they always had a lot of money in their house. So that's possibly one of the reasons why he did target them. Because, big grocery family of
Sure.
Italians, and they would have cash. That makes sense. So, I mean, just out of the blue, you know how some psychics are just ghost magnets. Their light is so bright
Right.
that, I'm really not surprised that the Axeman picked up on her vibes and was checking out what were we investigating a few blocks away, right? That was pretty exciting.
That's pretty cool. And I've always wondered if, because I have been to the haunted hotel so many times. I have this theory that he knows me. He knows who I am. And I feel like that he recognizes, people who have been there. And, he may have recognized you. Was that your first time when you came?
Yes.
I think you being there. And so y'all walking by or being in the area, and he may have picked up because that
Wow.
he had known you.
Right. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I always feel, it's weird, but I sometimes feel him. Like, I'm like, there he is, like, I know that's him.
Right.
And it's just like I'm watching you. He hasn't tried to harm me or cut me up or nothing, thank God. But I know when he is around. And I was at I don't know if you know Richard Lael Lillard.
So.
He's called the Gentleman Psychic. And he's been a guest on the show, and he invited me to his home here in New Orleans, and he actually lives on the street where I think the last murders occurred. And so I was at his house, and we were in the kitchen. He was making tea, and we were just standing there talking. And all of a sudden, a box just, whoo, and I'm like looking like, oh, here we go, And he's like, probably the Axeman. Wow. And he goes, he knows you're here. Yeah. And I was like, I know. So it's just, and it's not, it's just crazy how that concept.
Right.
That how he, like, I believe, this is me, getting that he knew who you were. And so he used your friend to convey,
right.
I got, like, I know you, Karen.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Because
I just got the tingles.
I know, I have them too. So actually, like, the Dauphine House is not that far from, it's like maybe what, like 3 or 4 blocks away,
maybe 4-ish.
Yeah, 4-ish blocks away.
Yeah, not bad.
And probably, and I'm not trying to do, said, but he probably knows more about you than what you think he does.
Great.
Always, just to throw that out there.
Thanks.
Sleep well, but
Okay.
that's the end of the show.
Great chatting with you.
Right, yeah, time to go. But no, but I'm just, I don't want to get off on the X-Men all night, but I'm just, it just came to me that's why that she was picking up on him because he recognized you.
Right, that would make sense.
Yeah, so. I mean, you probably stay so busy around different times of the year. And the Super Bowl's coming up, so I'm sure that y'all have, you probably have a lot of reservations and stuff. But if you go on the DauphineHouse.com, like I said, you can check out the pictures, you can make reservations, you can ask questions, and I think that would be cool if y'all come to New Orleans and stay with Karen. Karen don't mind.
I would love it.
Right, she would love. Just make them reservations. So, let's get back to a part about, when I mentioned about you being a psychic, and you were kind of like, eh. Now, does that mean that you are and you're still learning, like your gifts, or You are, and maybe you don't want to talk about it, or just I don't know. What
No,
did that? If you
I do like talking about it.
okay, all right, good.
It's fascinating because I guess what I do is automatic writing.
Oh, do
Yeah,
you? That is
yeah.
so cool.
So, because I find that when I go into a property to investigate, I just kind of get into a little bit of a relaxed state, maybe a
Mm-hmm.
little meditative state. And for whatever reason, when I put pen to paper, that's what kind of also gets me into the psychic mode.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'll do when I investigate, I'll just kind of get in a quiet part of the house and just say, "Is there anybody here who'd like to say anything?" And then I'll hear their voice usually, and then just start writing. And I know I think it was your last guest. Is it Schrader, Dave Schrader?
Dave Schrader was
Schrader.
on. Yes.
I loved, he talked about automatic writing a little bit, and
Yes.
he said for him, he experienced it as like someone was controlling his hand. And for me, that's not always what happens for me. It's mostly I just hear them and then write it down as fast as I can. I use it for a lot of different things, actually, not just for investigating to see, who's around, but to talk to my spirit guide. Um, that's that's kind of mostly how I use this automatic
Sure.
writing thing. If I have questions or need guidance or direction, or when I'm, investigating a house. So
I really
it's
think that that's a good tool. Now, I want to confess, I've only done automatic writing one time,
uh-huh.
and I was just I don't know. A lot of things happen to me like when I'm at work. I don't know if it's because it's so quiet, like a library, and you just want to scream. But no offense. But it's I start getting things like not that I'm seeking it out or anything, but
Right.
it starts coming, and all of a sudden I just started doing the automatic writing thing, and it was amazing what you get.
Mm-hmm.
And like you was talking about like Dave Schrader and
Mm-hmm.
how he was saying that somebody was guiding his pen. And you can watch the episode. It's on Discovery Plus. It's called The Curse of Lizzie Borden.
Uh-huh.
And he's actually they're doing a seance
Oh my.
in the Borden house, and he starts trembling and shaking, and then they give him the pen, and he starts. And Dave is not someone like that acts like that,
Right.
and so it was really a powerful moment. So if y'all would like to check that out and see, it was really a great. It's really a good episode. But so, did you feel that you were psychic when you were younger, or like a child? And does it run in your family, or is this something that you've picked up?
Well, I think when I was a kid, honestly, if I look back at that, I think I felt like I could kind of sense other beings. I don't know, being from Phoenix, I just remember sometimes being in our backyard, and this is a long time ago in Phoenix, when Phoenix was kind of a young city. Who knows what was there originally?
Mm-hmm.
Who or what?
Right.
I don't know. But I always felt like there were some just older beings in our backyard and in our neighborhood. I just could sense something, but didn't really know how to develop that or look into that more. But I always felt like there was something out there. And then, I think just coming to New Orleans is what really got the spidey senses up, that sort of thing. And this was so funny. One time I was just channel surfing on TV, and on PBS there was a couple of women on there who the subject matter was talking to your guardian angels, and I thought, well, that sounds like fun,
Yeah.
you know. And so that's kind of what opened the door,
Okay.
and then just started reading more about it, and then you know being a part of a few different ghost hunting teams with really good psychics. One of the psychics encouraged me one time. She's like, Karen, just give it a shot. Just try to tune in to what is happening in this property. And that was the dungeon, actually, in
Oh,
the quarter. She said, because she was supposed to come. She was always
that's an
our,
interesting
yeah,
spot.
that was a good yeah,
Woo.
yeah, yeah. But she was our lead psychic investigator and couldn't make it on that particular trip, and so she was like, and we were all like, what are we gonna do? And she's like, you guys, this is your opportunity to try for yourselves.
Right.
And so a couple of us did, and actually started picking up on things. And since I've learned that, at least for me, when I kind of get into that relaxed trance-like state, that's what kind of does it. And I was reading about this online. lately about brain frequencies and that sort of thing. And that's pretty common that when you get into that relaxed meditative state, that kind of puts us in that psychic realm. And I also read something about the brain frequency that's usually associated with automatic writing. That brain frequency is one thing. And then the creative, the frequency that has to do with creative writing shuts down.
Oh,
Isn't that interesting?
that is interesting.
So we're not making this stuff up.
Right.
It's
So it shuts down and then something else is controlling or going. Okay. So when you do automatic writing, and I'm just curious about it because, it just kind of came to me when you were saying that. When you are doing automatic writing, do you, like how Dave was saying, it felt like somebody was controlling, and you said you don't always feel that, but something is guiding you, I should say controlling, but guiding you to write these things. So how are they in your mind, or do they step into you to write? Because are they sending you, are they standing over here in the corner and telling you, like how, I'm just curious, like how would that work?
right. Most times it's like I kind of see them and I hear them talking. I see them talking, and then I'm just writing it down as fast as I can. And then sometimes I do feel like it's a little bit closer than that, in that they might take over and just write everything. But in general, I'd say 90% of the time, it's just I hear them and I just want to write it down as fast as possible.
So if you think about the dowsing rods,
Yeah,
the L rods,
right.
okay, you're holding them, okay, and you're being still, and something is making them cross, open. Are they in you making that do that? That's what I was told.
Really?
I was because I thought, this is me. So y'all can make fun of me. I don't care. I thought, okay, you're holding your dowsing rods. So pretend you have the dowsing rods, and I thought they would be in front of me and like moving them. And I was told, no,
Huh.
they go. I don't know if they shared
Interesting.
your space
Uh-huh.
or your body. I don't know, but I was told by someone that we know that
Wow.
it's like that. And not, me, I was, just thinking, oh, they're here, like moving this over because something's moving it. It's not me that's holding it because I'm being still and I'm
Right.
just,
I always thought it was the electromagnetic field that maybe they generated.
maybe so. But I don't know. Because if it's the electromagnetic field, wouldn't it be making other stuff move?
Well, I think these copper rods are so sensitive.
That it will just, like it
Right.
absorbs
Or like,
the
they'll
energy?
pass by and because weren't they originally used for finding water?
Water. Mm-hmm.
So it seems like they'd have
Always
to be.
get in the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I
Sorry. But I don't know, I was just
don't-
thinking it's interesting,
Right.
it's like, it's the same thing with automatic writing. Like, it makes you like, and when I was told that, I was like, wait, hold up. And actually it was at the hotel when it was discovered, like, no,
Wow.
they're not standing in front of you, dummy. I don't know.
Wow.
It wasn't, nobody didn't call me dummy, but you know what I mean? Like, it
Right.
wasn't like that. It was more more here.
Wow, I hadn't heard that. That's fascinating.
I don't know.
Maybe all of the above.
Maybe
Probably
so.
no.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's the individual, and what your gifts are, and how that you respond to spirit, and how open that you are.
Right.
How that they're like, oh, she's good. I'll just stand here and
Right.
move these rods.
Right.
So I don't know. It's just a thought I just
Yeah.
had. So I don't
That's
know.
great.
We'll go with whatever.
Right.
So you have 5 or 6 spirits, and I think that we've maybe tracked down 3 or 4 of them. You have the Hat Man.
Yep, got the Hat Man.
You have the man pacing on the balcony.
Right.
You have the couple,
Oh yeah, so there we go. Round 4. And then
That's 4.
the woman in what used to be the kitchen.
the kitchen woman. That's 5, and then
My cat.
your cat, 6.
Yeah. It's a busy little house.
Yeah, especially because it's not a huge property. That's a lot.
I know, but they're very nice. They're
Yeah,
very
and that makes
calm.
it better.
Yeah.
Because you want your home to be your sanctuary, and then you are coexisting with them, and then they love you because you're taking so care. So I think it's cool that way instead of the, get out, all that, the
Wallpaper
stuff, right?
shooting off the wall.
Right, like great,
Right.
right, yeah, nothing like that.
They're all
So
very
if you want
calm
to have a pleasant experience with the spirits,
and not be awakened in the middle of the
right,
night.
with yeah.
Yeah.
Go to the Dauphine House for sure. Now it's at 1830 Dauphine Street. Where else is any points of interest around that area that maybe people may know or are heard about?
Well, I'm like, just as far as attractions go or that kind of thing.
There or maybe some other haunted places. Now the convent, is that near you or is that closer to Ursuline?
That's that's a little, that's in the quarter. I'm just
You're on the
just
Marigny side.
outside,
You're on the Marigny side.
like a block. Like if you're walking down Bourbon Street towards Esplanade Avenue, cross
Oh my God!
Esplanade.
I just thought the word Esplanade because I was going to ask you. Go ahead and finish. But
Okay.
I was like Esplanade, and then you said I was like what? So I got something to ask you about that. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, cool. So you're walking down Bourbon Street, and then you cross Esplanade. That's the residential end of
Yeah.
Bourbon, right? You cross Esplanade, and you go about another block and a half and take a left. That's where I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Real
you're close to the Clayshaw house.
Yes. On Dauphine, that's the house we were investigating when the Axeman showed up. You got to be kidding me, Misty. You know about Clayshaw and his house?
I've investigated there 2 to 3 times.
Come on now. We got a lot of notes to compare.
Yeah,
Oh man, I wish I brought my notes for that.
that's crazy. I
When
got
did you get
chills.
to investigate?
About Brandon? When was that? About 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
So before the current owners had it, but when it was a mess?
Yes, when it was.
Okay, I know the current owners, and that's how we got in.
Okay, see, I didn't know it was sold, and I was there before, while the remodeling and everything was going on.
Okay.
Me and Miss Roy.
Wow. Yeah, my neighbors across the street bought the Clayshaw house, and they're renovating it just beautifully. It's gorgeous. What do you know? What a small world.
Thank you. Yeah,
Clayshaw, did he come through for you too?
he did.
Yeah, us too.
Yeah,
He's cool.
he's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very debonair, very together.
He was proud.
Mm-hmm.
He loved that house.
Yeah.
And when me and Carrie, for those of you who do not know, I mean, Carrie's been on the show like 2 or 3 times. She's referred to as the New Orleans psychic medium, and she and I went and investigated there, and Brandon, of course, filmed, and it was just really interesting because the first time that we went, I could sense that he was upset because I felt that he thought we were trying to get rid of him.
Oh.
I think he thought that was our intent. And it was like, no, because he loved that house. That is an award-winning house, just like yours are.
Yeah.
And, there's a plaque there that, about the house and he loved it. And for those of you who do not know who Clayshaw is, he was the only person that was put on trial for the JFK assassination.
Because I almost brought the paperwork and the things that we collected from that investigation tonight. I thought, oh, she probably doesn't even know who Clayshaw is.
Yeah, I know who.
You know who Clayshaw
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's really, it's kind of sad, because like I said, I believe he loved New Orleans.
Yeah.
He loved his home, and I don't know if he had some. I don't know.
Some of that came up too.
Yeah, with us too, and so, it's just, can somebody be split? Maybe there's a good side and there's a not so good side, and sometimes you pick up on, as a psychic, you pick up on the good side, and then they kind of then sometimes you pick up on the bad, and I guess, but I think that's cool that I would love to come see it after it's been renovated and all that, because I know that we were there. I'm thinking 3 times that we went
Wow.
there. Yeah.
That's great.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. They're doing a beautiful job with it. They really are. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm
It's a
sorry.
small world.
I know. I'm just so crazy. Like, yeah, like naming
It's
the house.
nuts.
Right? It's crazy. But so anything future do you have planned there for the Dauphine House that's coming up?
Oh gosh, no.
Okay.
Just hoping everybody comes
Okay.
for all the
Yeah.
festivals and all that fun stuff.
Well, a lot of stuff's going to be happening. You got
Mhm.
Jazz Fest that's going to
Mhm.
be coming up, and I mean every festival known to man.
Mhm. Mhm.
Chicken festival. I mean, they got all kind of festivals
Oh,
coming. So,
yeah.
everybody, like I said, please go to the dauphinehouse.com, check it out. I mean, the history's on there. Karen, she's lovely and just an amazing, positive person to be around. And also, she's going to connect with the spirits too. So I appreciate you being on the show.
Well, thank you for having me. This was a blast.
Yeah, and I hope that you will come back. And
Absolutely.
I hope you can get me into the clay shop just to see the
Absolutely.
new. I would
think
love to.
the owners are really sweet and gracious, and they let us do that sometimes.
Yeah, that'll be cool. So thank you so much again, and thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you next week. Have a good night.